Anti-concert is against a concert. Maybe it says something about the things about concerts that we don't like. The necessity for being rigid in terms of the media that we use, or the people who use the media, or where they sit. The reason for being in the same place in the house, not being free to move around from one thing to the other. All the general cramping of the style in a concert. Maybe these are some of the things that we're against this evening.
One would think that an anti-concert, or being against concert, would mean no concert at all, but in what you're saying, you're suggesting that you're dissenting from the regular idea of a concert. How did this idea come into being?
I don't know, to go back to your original premise, of whether we were dissenting from the idea of a concert, as much as if we were saying that concerts need to be changed, and that the music which goes on in concerts is not the same kind of music that you might find in a concert, for example. It's hard to do the sort of thing that Enough Rope Inc. does in any kind of normal concert setting. This is why we like to work in galleries, rooms, gymnasium, classrooms with movable seats, churches.
What would you say to the idea that an anti-concert might indeed be sitting at home in your own living room listening to a recording?
Quite true. I think that's probably the most important anti-concert of our contemporary life. That and sitting at home in our living room or kitchen watching television, being free to move around, duck out for the commercials, go to the icebox for beer. We have these new freedoms which are changing our lives and our patterns of behavior in concert halls.
Since anti suggests something negative, would you suggest something positive in connection with an anti-concert?
I think one of the most positive things about an anti-concert is that the normal patterns of programming, the normal structures of group behavior, which one generally finds if you buy a ticket and walk into the hall, and sit in a reserved seat, identified by a paper stub with a number on it. You don't have the same freedom of choice as an audience, and you don't have the freedom to become involved or not become involved as you choose. And as far as the people who are designing and planning it, they don't have the sort of choice about what they're doing. On this program, for example, we're doing both the old and the new. We're doing a great deal of music that was composed to order for this program, surrounding it with some objects, some interesting costumes, some gifted performers. No feeling that what we're doing necessarily has to have any sort of pat, structural solidity, that it can be loose and free and depend on who's there and what's going on.
Most of the people involved in this event have spent a great deal of time in learning their particular craft, and naturally a discipline is implied in any long-term study. These people who prepared themselves in this way are now doing something which seems to violate the whole idea of discipline and training toward a concert life.
Not at all. I think one of the things that is most difficult about concert life for the performer is that they do have to do the same thing over and over again.
Okay, here we go again.
In the case of all four of these people, one of the reasons why we got together, I think, is because we like to do different things once we had gotten to a fair degree of professional facility. And each one of the performers has his own area of experimentation in which he's working outside of the generally accepted pattern. Joe Celli, who was doing the oboe and English horn, has not only gone reasonably deep into jazz forms, but also into some compositions which require the dismantling of the oboe and the playing on the reed. Elise Benessig defines her voice, as a song-producing tool of the widest dimension. And there's no sense operatic. She spent her summer in a religious rock group, and as you noticed this evening, seems pretty good Sprechstimme. Roy Keel, who plays the two organs, has worked in both the improvisatory and the straight-on recitals. He's the sort of man who was delighted to improvise a trio sonata on Pop Goes the Weasel or Jingle Bells or Alouette, much the same way that the old theater organists used to do. And Victoria and Jim, both of whom had fairly straight training in their past, became very interested in African music and went in that direction. The idea is to integrate as many different styles of non-specialist behavior into the life of the specialist performer who is gifted on his instrument.
Why would all these people to combine to give us so many fragments of things? We have fragments of music, visual fragments of one kind or another. Would you explain what the importance of fragmentation is?
I don't really think there's any need for a large explanation. The main reason for fragments is to avoid getting bored, to replicate the way things go on in our lives, and to illustrate enough for Opink's major slogan, art is as art does.